આમાં નીચું તો પડે જ છે. ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः. स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं. सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः. ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. So we'll read the first mantra. You repeat after me. ॐ अथाश्वलायनो भगवन्तं परमेष्टिनम् उपसमेत्य उवाच. नो भगवन्तं परमेष्ठिनम् उपसमेत्य उवाच. अधीहि भगवो ब्रह्मविद्यां वरिष्ठाम् सदा सद्भिः सेव्यमानां निगूढाम् यया चिरात् सर्वपापं व्यपोह्य परात् परं पुरुषं याति विद्वान्. So the first mantra begins, as we saw yesterday, with the word atha. Atha shows anantaram, which means thereafter. So it means that, as we saw yesterday, that when life is lived in the principle of dharma, then automatically this jignasa arises. In reality, if we look into the Shastra, we find, even though 4 Purusharthas are prescribed, not prescribed, but they are supposed to be there. Generally speaking, that is what is seen. Artha, Kama, first is Kama, Artha, Dharma and Moksha. But in reality, there are only 2 Purusharthas. And what are they? Dharma and Moksha. Life of Dharma. According to the Shruti, when life is lived according to Dharma, automatically it paves the way for moksha. Just as Lord Krishna beautifully summarizes all this in Bhagavad Gita. He says, Yatah pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvamidam tatam swakarmana tam abhyarchya siddhim vindati manavaha. Lord Krishna says that when we offer our actions to the one because of whom the creation is and by whom it is pervaded, to him, when we offer our actions, then we gain siddhim. Siddhim vindati manavaha. Human being gains success. What is this success? What is this siddhi, which Lord Krishna mentions? It is first level of siddhi. There are two levels of siddhis. One is antakarana shuddhi, and the other one is knowing oneself as Brahman. These are the two siddhis in life. And that is why we have two kandas, karma kanda as well as jnana kanda. When the karmas, in short, when life is lived in the spirit of karma yoga, and karma yoga means you offer yourself at the altar of samashti, at the altar of totality, then yes, offering your actions plus receiving the result with prasada buddhi, receiving them gracefully as coming from Ishvara. When life is lived in this manner, then automatically jignasa arises, because heart and mind becomes pure. They become pure. Pure means what? It becomes sattvic. There are these three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. Sattva means purity, transparency. Rajas means selfishness, action, greed. And tamas means laziness, slothfulness, no inspiration. All this is tamas. But when, as we just mentioned, when life is lived intelligently, intelligently means not in the sense of selfishness, when selfishness is not prevalent in life, but when it is life of giving, reaching out. And kartavya karmas have this in mind, that you always place others before you. When you do anything, your agenda should not be only selfishness. What about me? Rather than that, what about others? How can I be of help to others? How can I elevate others? This is maturity. We may not understand this. People generally tend to think that we should be smart, outwit others, and in competition, with competition, etc., we should always come first. But in reality, maturity means you live for others. And kartavya karmas done with the sense of duty and one step ahead, doing it for Ishvara. And who is Ishvara? Where is Ishvara? Everything that is before me is Ishvara. Everything, everyone who is before me is nothing but Ishvara. And my actions are offered unto that. The role that I have been given in life, whatever that role may be. And a human being performs many, many roles. Many roles. In all those roles, one thing should be common. How can I help others? How my presence can be fruitful for others? When life is consistently lived in this manner, and when you follow Shastras, then this happens. When you follow Dharma, it happens. That is how the Shastras are designed. Shastras have only one goal in mind, and that is moksha. It very systematically wants to prepare the human being for moksha. And that is why, and Shastra knows, dharma is the thing which will prepare the person for moksha. Dharma will transform the person. And then automatically he will be ready for the next step, the next phase of life. So here when it is said atha, which means Ashvalayana has lived his life that way. For Arjuna also we see this. For Arjuna, this atha came where? In Kurukshetra. In the battlefield, for him this moment arose. In the battlefield, when he has to fight this, when this prospect of war arose with his kith and kin, with his near and dear ones, at that time, in the beginning, he very much came. But then when he saw them, suddenly something happened. And he wanted to withdraw. He wanted to withdraw from that. But in that critical moment, what happened? Vairagya came. He loses interest in everything that is gained from the world. He puts it in the words, Nahi prapashyami mamapanudyat yat chokamuchoshanam indriyanam avapya bhumau asapatnam ruddham. He says, I don't see how this material prosperities of life, how will they at any time bring an end to the shoka, to the vacuum, to the sense of inadequacy which I am feeling. How will it ever go away, no matter what I gain in life? I don't see that. I don't see how things which I get from outside are capable of bringing an end to the sense of limitation which I am nursing all along. And when this clicked to him, what happened? The course of life changed. The course of life changed. It is very strange that Arjuna, for him this happened in the battlefield. But thank God, Lord Krishna was right before him. And he surrendered unto him. And it also clicked to him that I am no more interested in all of this, and what I want can be offered by Lord Krishna. So he says, Yash shreyasyat nishchitam tanme bruhi. That which is definite, that which can give me nitya in life, I want that. This is vairagya coming from viveka. And then thereafter, therefore, atha, this atha came. So far the direction of life was going this way, and then suddenly it took an about turn. It took an atha means that. Atha means so far it is going this way, where it is the happiness and what we are looking for is not out there. Still he doesn't know that it is here. But now that path is being paved. Moment he surrendered to Lord Krishna, he said, Shishyasteham shadi mam tvam prapannam. I have surrendered unto you, shadi mam. Please teach me. Please teach me. Imagine, all along Lord Krishna was with him. They were bosom friends. And during the Vanavasa, he was right before them. But it never occurred. It never occurred to Arjuna to tell Lord Krishna, please teach me Brahma Vidya. Please teach me that which is nishchitam shreyaha. That which will give me definite thing. It never occurred. It never occurred. Otherwise, there was lot of time. Lord Krishna could have taught him there. But no, it happened here. It happened right in the midst of life. Similarly, Atha happened for even Ashvalayana. And then the course of life has changed. Sadhana Sampatti Anantaram. When this have sadhana sampatti means you have gained maturity. And understand that when you become sattvic, Sattvat Sanjayate Jnanam. Sattvikta now is the most efficacious thing which can bring knowledge in your life. Sattvat Sanjayate Jnanam. Understand that when the disposition of the mind changes, your desires also change. When the frame of the mind changes, the desire of the mind also changes. In the beginning, when there is lot of rajas, then the desires are of a different kind. First, generally speaking, there is nothing hard and fast about it. But generally speaking, it is seen that a human being in the beginning, when he is gross, he wants what? Sense gratifications. His mind is such, that time the need is for indulgence, the need is for sense gratifications. But then when he evolves little bit, then the second need may be for emotional gratification. You want emotional gratification. I want love from others, warmth from others, because I am not sufficient. I don't find it in myself. So please love me. Please give me this. Please put your hand on my shoulders. Do that. Emotional gratification. Then the desire changes again because the mind changes. Then a person wants ego gratification. I want this. I am this. And many a times that is why we see that, person is well off, but still he now wants power. Nobody should be like me. I am a millionaire in Asia, but I want to become in the world also. That time now money doesn't count. Doesn't count means I should be number one. There's a different gratification, different desire, ego gratification. And then even that comes. Then if one is taking stock of life, when one is examining life, Parikshya Lokan, when Mundaka says Parikshya Lokan, which means you should examine your life, Paritaha Ikshanam, see your life from all the sides, take stock of life. In the end, just as in March ending, this, that, we sit back and take all the stocks, what gain, what losses, net profit, loss, etc. Similarly, in life also, from time to time, every so often, we should take stock of life. What have I gained so far? What have I lost? And things that I have gained, at what cost have I gained them? At what cost? And where do I stand now? Where do I stand? Am I still fulfilled? Or still, as Swamiji was saying the other day, the desirer is intact. Desires are replaced one after the other. As child, I wanted toys. As a young man, different things. As a middle-aged one, different things. Desires keep on changing. Who remains intact? Desirer. He has not gone. He won't go. He won't go. Because what he is seeking is not there. No matter what objects are replaced. Then he may go to Swarga. There also he won't get it. In this manner, Dandramya Manaha Pariyanti Mudaha. One keeps on going round and round and round and round. But Atha is that that when one stops, no, I'm not reaching anywhere. I've been traveling left and right and east and west and everything, but nowhere I don't find my destination. When one has that intelligence, and that comes because of punya, that comes because of life of giving. Sometime you may have done, maybe may not, it may be this life or some other lives, but punya which has been gained because of that, now the desire has changed. Now spiritual gratification. Now you want spiritual gratification, which means I want to know that which is definite. And with that, Ashvalayana has come. Adihi Bhagavaha, O teacher, please teach me. Same thing happened with Narada also. Adihi Bhagavaha. He also says the same thing. Varuna, Bhrigu. In Dt.31, Bhrigu also goes to Varuna, his father, with the same Adihi Bhagavaha. Please teach me Brahma, which means Brahma Vidya, which means they know something about it. They have heard about it. They have some general knowledge about it. But they want to know it in particular. What is it? Where is it? Tell me all about it. With that desire, Ashvalayana approaches Parameshti. Who is this Parameshti? Pitamahascha. Bhagavantam Parameshtinam. Parameshtinam means Brahmaji. To him he goes, who abides in the best of the place, Brahmaloka. And he approaches in the right manner. Ashvalayana is well versed with the Shastra, in not Brahma Vidya, but otherwise he knows everything because he is Acharya of Rigaveda. So he knows how to approach a teacher. So very humbly, showing his humility, he approaches. Just as in Mundak it is said, Samit Panihi, the student goes to the teacher, Samit Panihi, which means faggots in his hands, because that is what the teacher may require. You go with something where that will be useful to the teacher. That shows your namrata, your humility, your respect for the teacher. That is how he approaches the teacher, and now the teacher replies. So let us come to second verse. Tasmai sahovacha. Tasmai sahovacha pitamahascha. Shraddha bhakti dhyana yogadavaihi. Tasmai. When the student goes and asks, to that, tasmai means to that student, sa uvacha pitamahascha, the teacher, saha means guru, that is Brahmaji. Who is he? Pitamahascha, he is the grandfather. He replies. And what is his reply? Shraddha bhakti dhyana yogad avaihi. May you know, avaihi means may you know. May you know it by Shraddha, that is trust, bhakti, that is devotion or commitment. Here it means commitment. And with dhyana. Dhyana means with concentration of the mind. May you know it with this means. Now see, just because the student has gone, the jignasu has gone, that doesn't guarantee that the teacher will reply. Not necessary that teacher replies right away. Many a times teacher may not reply. As we see in Prajnopanishad, 6 rishis are going. Not simple people, but 6 rishis, sages themselves are approaching Rishi Pippalada. And they said, please tell us about Nirguna Brahman. What did teacher say? He says, live here for 1 year. You live here for 1 year and do tapas. afterwards, if I know, then I will tell you. If I know your answer, if the question that you ask, and if I know it, I will tell you. After living for 1 year also, there is no guarantee that they will be told. Just in the same manner, in Chandogya Upanishad, we find in the 8th chapter, Indra and Virochana. One is the king of the heavens, other of Asuras. Both of them go to Prajapati, again over there, Brahmaji only. And what does Brahmaji say? Live here for 32 years. 32 years of not Prithvi Loka. 32 years of that. You live here for 32 years and then you can ask. What I mean to say is that just because you go and approach doesn't mean that they will reply. They reply if they think that the student is fit. So here Ashvalayana is very lucky. Lucky means he's eligible. He's eligible. And that is why Pitamahascha. Who is this Pitamahascha? Jagat Pitrunam Dakshadinam Pita. Pitamahascha Kamalasanaha. Actually, Pitamahascha means what? He is the father of the creator of this world. Prajapatis. Prajapatis are the one who have created this world. Just as Daksha. There are many such. In all the kalpas, Prajapatis are different. Just as we say Daksha Prajapati, who was the father of Sati. So, even the father of them is Brahmaji, who is referred to here as Pitamahascha, grandsire. So, just Brahmaji is this one. He replied, and now you see, Ashvalayana had asked for Brahma Vidya. He said, please teach Adihi Bhagavaha Brahma Vidyam Varishtham. He had asked for exalted Brahma Vidya. I think we didn't do that part, no? Yeah, that is left out. Let me quickly. Varishtham, Ashvalayana knew this much, that Brahma Vidya is Varishtham. But you can just go back to verse mantra 1. That much is left out. Varishtham Brahma Vidyam. Varishtham is noblest, most exalted. That means Ashvalayana seems to know that Brahma Vidya compared to other Vidyas is the most exalted. Why? Because other Vidyas, Apara Vidya, there are two kinds of Vidyas, Para and Apara. Apara Vidya has for its subject the Vidyas of the world. And different Vidyas, different knowledges pertain to different objects of the world. So many such Vidyas are there. But all of them give you knowledge of the part. None of these Vidyas give you the knowledge of the whole. Plus, whatever knowledge of the part that they can give Apara Vidyas, which means inferior knowledges, whatever they can give, that is also subject to change. That is also subject to change. Why? Because supposing there is a Vidya of this particular object. Now this object is also changing every moment. This object is also bound by time. Time is working upon this and it is constantly changing. So today I may come to a particular judgment or conclusion about this. But with time, this very object also changes. So my conclusion is bound to be revised, bound to have improvement. And that is why we see that there are different doctorates. You know, everybody has different theory. And PhDs keep on changing also. Theories keep on changing precisely because this object is changing every moment. And that is why those Vidyas are not Varishtham, not the exalted Vidyas, whereas Brahma Vidya is one which is most exalted. It is never going to change. Why? Because it pertains to Brahman. And what is this Brahman? Brahma is that which is what? Desha Kala Vastu Paricheda Shunyasya Vidya. Brahman has, this word Brahman has come from the verbal stem bruha, which is in the sense of growing. See, which means it is great, and which means to grow. Brahman is something. Supposing I say that it is big, this hall is, this particular place is big, this object is big, then I give some reference for comparison. Some idea I can give you. Big like a mountain, big like Rishikesh. But then that bigness is confined to what? Mountain, to Rishikesh. So in that way that bigness has been confined. Whereas here for Brahman, how big is it? You have no reference point. It is bigger than the biggest, smaller than the smallest. Anoho aniyan mahataha mahiyan. So in this way it means it is not bound by time, not bound by space, not bound by any objectivity. It is the Vidya of this Brahman. So Ashvalayana already knows all this. Plus he said, Sada Sadbihi Sevyamanam, which has been resorted to by all noble people. Who are the Sadbihi? Sadbihi means noble people, Sattvic people. Who are Dehadishu Atma Buddhi Shunyehi, those people who have no sense of identification with the body, mind, intellect, complex. By them, this Vidya is always nursed or resorted to in their hearts. That Vidya. Plus it is Nigudham. Nigudham means it is a secret, royal secret. How come is it a secret? Why? Because Sarva Bhuteshu Atmani Vidyamanam api avidyaya nitaram samvrutam. It is always covered by ignorance. Even though Brahman is a fact, an existent fact, and yet covered by ignorance. And it is lodged in a place where we will never suspect that it is. Everybody is looking for happiness, fullness. But, and where is it? Shastra says it is right, it is you, not right in you. It is you yourself. Tat Tvam Asi, you are that. Are is this verb, is it present tense? You are that. But we never suspect. It never happens that we suspect that it could be me. It never occurs. That Swamiji says, it never happens that we trample upon Atma. We are looking for it and we come across it. It never happens. I was looking for it and I came across it. It never happens. On the contrary, even when you are struggling to gain it, even when you are seeking it, it is right with you. So you never suspect, just as the 10th man who has already concluded that the 10th man is out there will never find him. The seeking itself will deny the sought. Why? Because he is seeking, the very looking for the 10th man will deny him the 10th man. Why? Because it is already concluded that I am not that. Anybody else can be the 10th man, but I am not that. In that sense, this Vidya is Nigudham. It is a deep secret. Plus he said, Yaya Achirad Sarva Papam Vyapohya. Yaya means by this Vidya, Sarva Papam Vyapohya, crossing over all the sins. One will attain that Purusha who is beyond Maya. Who will attain this? This Vidwan. Now, Sarva Papam Vyapohya, crossing over all the sins. Which are, what are the sins? All the sins have their base in ignorance. All the sins arise from ignorance. Not knowing myself is the original sin. Is the original sin. which becomes the ground for other sins. Looking for happiness, and I don't know that I am that, I will look for it outside. And when I don't find it, a time may come when the pressure for having that happiness is so much that I may violate all the rules and regulations and may resort to papa. It's quite possible. So all the sins, all the himsa, all kama, all krodha, all lobha, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, all of them arise from what? From ignorance. So ignorance is the mother for all the sins. So Ashvalayana says the Brahma Vidya is such that by knowing it, one will cross over all of this. And how long? Achirat. Achirat. Achirat means quickly. Actually, the moment you know that you are Brahman, you are already that. Because it was already, you were already that. But the distance was only ignorance. Ignorance is the only distance between you and Brahman. What is the distance between Brahman and myself? Between happiness and myself? Ignorance. I have to erase this ignorance. Mom, if I can do that, happiness is right with me. I am that happiness. In this sense, Ashvalayana seems to know something. He has some idea. Maybe he has heard, maybe he has done some satsanga, but has not got that clarity. So with all this, he is approaching the teacher. And then he says, Parat Param Purusham. Parat Param means, Parat means this beyond the Maya. This world is one kind of truth, and beyond that means beyond Maya, is that Purusha. Purusha means Brahman, who abides right here. Puri Shete, one who, Brahman, who Shete, who abides right in the cave of the heart, which means as the very self. Vidwan Yati, Vidwan reaches, Vidwan goes. Goes, does he really go? No. Yati is said in a secondary sense. He doesn't really go, but he discovers as his own self. So this is the first verse, which that much was skipped. So I took that part. And then we again come back to mantras number 2. So Pitamaha, he replied. He is replying. And what did he say? See, Ashvalayana had asked for Brahma Vidya. He said, please give me Brahma Vidya. But what is the reply of the teacher? The reply, is it congruent with the question of Ashvalayana? Ashvalayana had asked for Brahma Vidya. And what is the teacher saying? He doesn't say what Brahma Vidya is. On the contrary, he talks about the means. He says, may you know it with Shraddha, Bhakti and Dhyana. He doesn't say Brahma Vidya is this. He says, may you know it with Upaya. He is talking about Upaya. He is talking about the means. So, first of all, what is important is means. See, understand, any knowledge for that matter, calls for preparedness, calls for preparation. If you want to take the line of medicine with the subjects of arts, you cannot go in that. Nobody will give you any admission. For engineering, different subject. And you must have that background. Those samskaras have to be there for you to be able to understand the language which they talk over there. So understand, any knowledge calls for a certain preparedness. Similarly, Brahma Vidya too, and more so. It calls for a certain preparedness. And this preparedness are in 2 stages. There are 2 sadhanas for Brahma Vidya, which prepares you for Brahma Vidya. First is which? Bahiranga sadhana, and other one is Antaranga sadhana. Bahiranga sadhana means karma yoga. And antaranga sadhana means what Pitamahascha is saying, where you prepare your mind. Antaranga sadhana focuses upon preparing the mind. Even Bahiranga does that. But it is, see, why these two sadhanas are there? Because the mind has two kinds of problems, or two kinds of impurities are there. First is mala, and second one is vikshepa. Mala means gross impurity, and vikshepa is slightly subtle impurity. This gross impurity can be removed by first stage, that is Bahiranga sadhana. And the subtle one can be removed by Antaranga sadhana. Karma yoga takes care of mala. And mala means what? Raga, dvesha, swartha. Tivra, strong selfishness is mala, where just the ego is important. You are oblivious of the entire creation, which means what is important to me is just myself. My comfort, my likes and my dislikes are important. And when that is important, we are missing a very big thing. And so Shastra prescribes what? Karma yoga for removing raga and dveshas. As Swamiji says, Karma yoga is what? Less of I and more of Ishvara. Every time when you do something, put yourself in the back burner and put others before you. That will be Karma yoga. That primarily takes care of all the gross likes and dislikes. All the mala is gone. Then still vikshepa is there. Vikshepa means the concentration or the application of mind is missing. Mind doesn't have that capacity to apply itself. There is lot of restlessness. This becomes a big obstacle. Restlessness of the mind. Chanchalata. Chanchalam hi manah Krishna. When Bhagavan talks about meditation, then Arjuna says, I can't apply myself. Of course, he could, but for the benefit of others, he is asking this. Not being able to apply yourself becomes a big obstacle. Because whatever is learnt through mind. Manasa eva idam aptavyam. You have to learn this with the mind. And if the mind is not focused, mind cannot focus. It can concentrate for some time and then begin to doze off. Look this way, that way, that way. Let me have tea, let me have coffee, let me go for a walk, come back. Nothing is possible. So, this is absolutely necessary. Drishyate tvagraya buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadarshibihi. In Kathopanishad, Shruti says, as it is, Brahman is very subtle. And that can be known only by one who has a very sukshma and agra buddhi. And of course, pure. And agra means one-track mind. And sukshma means very, very subtle and sharp mind. This kind of mind is required. And this can be attained. This antaranga sadhana are being prescribed here by Pitamahascha, by Brahmaji. He thought that Ashwalayana doesn't need what? He doesn't need Bahiranga sadhana. So he skipped that part. And generally speaking, the students of Upanishad doesn't require karma yoga. Generally, in those times. Because there is a reason for that. In those days, students had to go to the teacher. Teacher were not coming. Students had to go to the teacher in the forest. They would not be living except Chaturmasa, they will not be living in the midst of the people in the society. They would be somewhere in the caves of Himalaya or somewhere in the forest. Then the students have to go. When they are going, already something is there in their minds. They have determined. They are ready to pursue it. So already they are prepared. In a way, prepared. Some kind of preparation is required. Upasana, etc. are required. But not Ragadveshas already are being taken care of. And in those days, going was gone. Once you go, you have gone forever. Because where is the teacher, first of all, you don't know. You look for a teacher. Then go to Himalaya. And no flight, no buses, nothing. Takes so long to go. And then live there. Who knows? He may stay here for 5 years. Then I will begin. And how long it will take, God knows. And by the time you come back, your all business is gone. Job is gone. Everything is gone. So it was burning the boat forever. Having crossed the river, you burn the boat. So you know no scope or no desire to come back. That is how it was. So here, teacher is prescribing Antaranga Sadhana. And which is that? First one is Shraddha. First one is Shraddha. What is this Shraddha? Shraddha is Astikya Buddhihi, which means trust. Trust. Trust in what? Trust in the teaching and the teacher. Trust in the teaching as well as the teacher. See, the Shraddha word is derived from the verbal stem dha. Dha. Dha means to hold. To that, a prefix called shrat is attached. What is the meaning of this shrat? Shrat means trust. Shrat means vishwasa. And it is attached to that verbal stem dha. From that, this word is from Shraddha. Then it means implicit trust. Why this implicit trust? It is a very, very important quality. In as much as I don't know anything about Brahman. General knowledge may be there, but I don't know what it is. And already I have misconceptions, notions about myself, about the world, about Ishvara. I have notions, false ideas, erroneous notions about everything. Myself as well as the creation as well as Ishvara. So not only do I not know the reality as it is, but I have misapprehensions about it. I know it wrongly. Not only do I not know that I am Brahman, but I know myself to be what? Human being. Mortal, limited, woman, this, that. So understand, this becomes a big obstacle. In short, when I don't know anything, how am I ever going to know it without Shraddha, without that implicit trust? Plus, what is Shastra? The source from where the knowledge is coming is what? Pramana. Just as for this color, my eyes are pramana. Eyes are the only means by which I can know what this object is and what is the color of this object. That this object is of orange color, how will I know other than eyes? Who can ears tell me? Can I verify the color with the ears? Eyes are saying this is orange color, but I don't believe. I don't believe. Now how will I come to know? No, I cannot be orange. Can I refer to ears? Can I refer to sense of smell? Can I refer to sense of taste to know that this is orange color? No. Only and only eyes are capable, only means as far as the color is concerned. Similarly, this is called pramana. Just as eyes are pramana for this color, ears for its object. Similarly, Vedas are pramana for what? For Brahman, for something that is atindriya. And there are two kinds of trusts. One is something which you can verify, and there is something which you cannot verify. See, supposing I say that in the Swarga there is Nandanvana, then Indra comes there sitting on Airavata, etc. If I say this, can you verify it? We don't believe you, we will verify sometime. I'll go to Swarga and then come and tell you. So this is not a verifiable trust, verifiable belief. It's not a verifiable belief. Is the trust in the Vedas verifiable or not? For Brahman, it is verifiable. In which sense? That today I don't know what you are trying to tell me. That Brahman is Nirguna, Nirakara, Ashabdam, Asparsham, etc. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Woman, I don't know. But since it is my very self, tomorrow, if I go along the lines of what the teacher and the teaching, that is Shastra, is saying, I will come to know. Yes, Anubhava. It will become my Anubhava. Already it is there, but still I don't know. But if I listen to the Shastras coming to the teacher, then tomorrow I can verify it. Yes, that you said that I am Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, of the nature of Ananda. I can verify it when I abide in that knowledge. That is why Shastra says, Shruti Shiro Vakyam Samakarnyatam. May you listen to the Vedanta, which is Shruti, which is what? The head of the Vedas. The head of the Veda is Upanishad. Shruti Shiro Vakyam. That is why Bhashyakara says, Shruti Shiro Vakyam Samakarnyatam. May you listen to it very well. When it is said, Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, listen very well. Shravanam means listening, and along with the teacher, you are also thinking. Vichara is being done. You don't listen just, okay, I will swallow. No swallowing business. You have to understand. And there what happens, what is important is Shraddha. I have trust that what he is saying, it is in the beginning. It may be trust pending discovery. I give benefit of doubt pending discovery. But since I have no other access other than the teacher, other than the Shastra, what will I do? But somehow, with God's grace, I feel I'll come to know. What he's saying makes sense. What the teacher is saying makes sense. He seems to know. You come to know like that. You still don't know the subject. You still don't know. But somehow, this is grace of Ishvara. That somehow that trust arises, that he seems to know what he is talking about. When he says Atma itself is of the nature of Ananda, fullness, I am not experiencing that. I am not experiencing, but I have faith in his, trust in his words. He seems to know. There seems to be something that aura is different. His words have a ring of truth. This arises. I have that implicit faith, implicit trust. That is why Bhashyakara says, in Vivek Chudamani, Shastrasya Guru Vakyasya Satya Buddhi Avadharanam. That it is truth. What he is speaking is true. That conviction arises. It clicks. The chemistry clicks. And if it doesn't click, it may not click. But if you are lucky, if you enjoy the grace of, and yes, you have to come to the right person. Somehow, and take your time in discovering whether the person is right or not. But since you don't know, how will you know? Take your time. We can make out, seems to be pure, seems to know what he is talking, seems to have what, look at his behavior, look at his peace, look at his luster, things like that. And somehow you feel that they know it. And you put the trust. And then you discover it. Plus, what reason can they have to misguide you? What reason can they have? The teacher, they don't seem to have any other agenda. That also one has to see. In the modern times, don't put your trust anywhere. You can be misguided. So one has to be very cautious. But hopefully we can make out. And Shrotriyatram at least can be known. You can make out. In course of time you come to know these things. Then when that trust is there, you are very lucky. And then it becomes, the listening, becomes very smooth. You absorb things. Like that thing is there, you put it, something is, some liquid has slipped, is there over here. And you put that thing, what is it called? Sponge. And it absorbs. My mind becomes like a sponge. We absorb, grasp the teachings very soon. Just imagine Nachiketa. Yamaraja spoke just once, not big lectures. And he grasped. So, the Shraddha connects you with the teacher and the teaching. It's a very, very important quality. That is why Lord Krishna says, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. There are no questions, no suspicion. Then the bent of the mind is different. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. One who has this faith gains knowledge. Okay. Then what is the second quality? Bhakti. What is this bhakti? Bhajanam tadeka tatparya buddhihi. Bhakti means love for this object, love for this knowledge. See, when the Shraddha is there, implicit trust is there, and when you are listening to the Shastra, and what does Shastra have to say? Brahmavit apnoti param. You come to know all this. What is this? Brahmavit apnoti param. One who knows Brahman gains limitless. Brahmavit, one who knows Brahman. Apnoti means gains. What? Param, the most exalted. Which means one who knows gains limitless. If you pay attention to such statements, one who knows becomes param. Which means what? There is no distance between knowing and becoming. One who knows becomes. One who knows gains. Which means what? After knowing, I don't have to do anything. I know what Brahman, I just listen to what Brahman is, and what happens? I become Brahman. Not like that in other branches. When we know and then we work hard and then it happens. You tell me about how to cook khichdi. Then by just listening to mix this two, put it on the gas, add water, the khichdi is not ready. You have to do it. After knowing, you have to do it. Is it here? Is it the same here? Brahman and then I become Brahman. No, just by listening about Brahma, you become. How come? How come? Because I was. I am, not was. I am. I didn't know. 10th man becomes 10th man. He was looking for the 10th man, became 10th man. No, you cannot become unless you are. And what does Shruti say? Shruti say, Brahma Veda, Brahmaiva Bhavati. Brahma Veda and Bhavati comes together. You know and you become. When you hear all this, then what? I want to know. I want to know, because knowing is becoming. I don't have to do anything. Oh my God, I already am. I just have to know it properly. So when this happens, tatparta comes. Commitment comes. I want it. I want to know. I just want to know it, because knowing is becoming. And so, tarati shokam atmavit. One who knows Atma crosses sin. Just knowing is crossing. And then when you hear this, you want it badly. I just want to know it. And then what happens? When that Mahatva Buddhi is established, then commitment automatically comes. I just want it. Tatparta comes. That is why Lord Krishna says, Shraddhavan labate jnanam tatparaha. One who has Shraddha automatically has tatparata. Bhakti bhajanam tadeka tatparya buddhi. What is this bhajanam? Bhajanam means I love it. Only love for what you want has to be there. Otherwise you can't have it. If it is a burden, studying this, listening to this, oh my God, again meditation. Again class. One class, second class, third class. All this is too much. Day in, day we have to study. Day in and day out. For years together. It doesn't, if it is a burden for me, I cannot do it. But you just love it. Because Shastra shows a mirror to me. Shastra is my mirror. The words of the teacher are mirror. In the mirror, are we ever tired of looking in the mirror? Tell me. Are we ever tired? Moment we wake up, we go to that mirror and look at ourselves. Nothing is proper. But still we love it. Similarly, the words of the Shastra coming from the teacher is a mirror which every moment shows my beauty. Vijnanam, Anandam, Brahma. Who is going to tell you this? That you are beautiful. That you are knowledge. That you are, who is going to tell you other than this Shastra? So, when you expose yourself like this to the teaching with the trust, automatically that bhajanam means love, commitment comes. And if that doesn't come, you won't have it also. Because you cannot apply. You won't be able to apply. That passion is required. That is why Bhashyakara says, Swaswarupanu, he says, Swaswarupanu sandhanam bhaktireva gariyasi moksha karana samagryam. He says, for moksha, what is required? He says, Swaswarupanu sandhanam bhakti iti abhidiyate. He says, in all the samagri required for moksha, which is the best one? Bhakti. And what is the meaning of bhakti that Bhashyakara gives here in this context? Swaswarupanu sandhanam. Swaswarupa anusandhana. I like to listen about the self, Atma, Brahman, the reality. And my mind is all soaked with that. And that becomes priority. Understand? That becomes priority. If everything is important, as Swamiji says, even helicopter is important, means having that and Atma also, then where will you put all your strength? Our goal has to be very clear, and goal, I must love. I must like it. That is why Kathopanishad says, Yame Vaishya Vrunute Tena Labhyah. If you are committed to it, then you get it. You have to place your Varmala to it, as in the Swayamvara, In the Swayamvara, the princess is standing, and before him there are many princes who are there for this Swayamvara. You can't put Varamala to everyone. The garland cannot be put in everybody's neck, only one. Similarly, in my life, so many are there. I have to choose what I want. What I want. What is it that I want? Brahman. Knowledge. And then I put the Varamala there. Yam eva esha vrunute. If you choose it, then he chooses you. He means what? My very self. If I choose the self, self chooses me. Self is right there, but not manifest. So this is bhakti, coming as a natural course to Shraddha. And what is the last one? Dhyana. Dhyana is what? Focus of the mind. Dhyana is Vijatiya pratyaya shunya sajatiya pratyaya pravaha. See, what is required is that focus. What kind, and when will the focus be? When other things drop. If even now, if your mind is not focused in what I am speaking, then you may wonder, bell is ringing for lunch. This is happening, that is happening. If the hunger becomes prominent, then you may hear all kinds of things, which means corners of the mind are elsewhere. What we want, the entire strength of the mind, the entire capacity of the mind has one track. Vijatiya pratyaya shunya. All the dissimilar thoughts, all the other thoughts which are not pertaining to Brahman or Atma or this goal which I have selected are dropped. Patanjali Maharaj said, Tatra pratyekatanata dhyanam. All the thoughts of the mind flow here. All of them go there. This is dhyanam. Total absorption. Just as when Dronacharya ji told all the Pandavas and Kauravas, when he was taking the test, you have to pierce this eye of the bird. Then he asked Duryodhana to come and do this. And he says, what are you seeing? What do you see? He says, I see the tree also, and the fruit hanging there also, and the branch above that also, and the mountains also, and rivers also. He said, you better go. You better go. In this manner, everybody. And when the Arjuna came here, what are you seeing? He says, Arjuna says, I see only that right retina of the bird, which is not the bird also. Only that thing I see. Which means what? My entire energy is applied here. That is called dhyanam. That kind of dhyanam, which means focus, is required. Tell me, how can, without this kind of thing, we cannot learn anything? All the great people who have achieved something in life is the result of this kind of dhyana. Whether it is Sachin Tendulkar or Virat, whoever, Dhoni, whoever, all the time, right from the beginning, they were not like that. All the time betting, how to reply to this kind of ball, that ball. Everything else, just drops. Only this thing, this is antaranga sadhana, which means preparing the mind. Brahman, knowing Atma is going to call for this mind. Bhagavan also said, Arjuna said, this is very difficult. This is difficult. So what did Bhagavan say? It will come. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairakyena do abhyasa. Apply yourself once, twice, thrice, and see the limitations, fickleness of every other thing. Mind, where will the mind go, Mind will go to something that is important for it. If this is important for me, my my mind will go here. If I'm thirsty, my mind will go. But if I come to know that this is false, this is not real grape, then even if I'm thirsty, will my mind go here? Why? Doesn't have a drop of juice in it. It is mithya. Similarly, I must know that where my mind is going, the mind is scattered everywhere. Son, wife, daughter, husband, this, that, nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. Do whatever is to be done. But priority. But the focus. Vyavasayatmika buddhihi eka iha Arjuna. Vyavasaya, the focus of the mind, the priority of the mind is just one. Then only you can gain something worthwhile in life. Why Brahman? Even money, even name, fame, even harmony in relationship. How will you get all this? You have to work for it. Without Purushartha, without focus, nothing comes. Nothing comes. Ask all the scientists. They forget eating and drinking and everything. All the time Vikram Sarabhai, Mrunalini Ben used to say, his wife, she was a big dancer, he has no time for me. He has absolutely no time for me. He's all the while in his lab. Just an example I am giving. So, Pitamahascha, he said, Shraddha, Bhakti, Dhyana, Yogat. By joining with these three, may you know. So this is over. Now, one more upaya he wants to give, sadhana, that we will see tomorrow. And, okay, after Shanti Mantra, I have an announcement to make. Okay. Om Purnamatah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyaptatehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Just a second, please. See, for 4 days, coming 4 days, there are going to be bandaras over here.